Story 1.
All right, gather round, folks, because I'm about to take you on a spine-chilling journey into the life of Monica, the TikTok star who danced her way into a nightmare. This is my story, so sit tight and prepare for a wild ride. I'm just your average girl, you know? Lovin' to dance and share my moves on TikTok. People loved it, millions of views rolling in, and I was feeling on top of the world. But little did I know, there was something wicked lurking in the shadows. It all started innocently enough. I would set up my phone, pick a catchy tune, and let my body do the talkin'. People loved it, and I loved making them happy. But soon enough, strange things began to happen. Weird comments started popping up on my videos, filled with threats and hate. At first, I brushed it off, thinking it was just trolls, but then things got real messed up. I started getting messages from unknown numbers saying they were watching me, following my every move. I felt a chill crawl down my spine with each notification. One night, as I was recording a new video, I noticed something moving in the background. A dark figure lurked in the corner of my room, its eyes glinting with pure malice. Fear gripped my heart as I turned around, but there was nothing there. It was like a nightmare come to life. After that night, fear became my constant companion. Every time I danced, I felt eyes on me, even when I was alone. Strange noises echoed through my house at night. Sleep became a distant memory as nightmares plagued me every single night. One day, as I was scrolling through TikTok, I stumbled upon a video of myself dancing. But it wasn't my latest post. It was a video of me performing a dance I had never recorded. But the scariest thing was that there were several dead animals in the background. People in the comments claimed to have seen me dancing in places I had never been. My heart raced as I realized someone was impersonating me. I tried to report it, but nothing changed. The imposter continued to post videos of me doing unspeakable things, torturing animals, vandalizing property, and even hurting innocent people. The comments section was filled with horrified viewers, begging for it to stop. But the imposter reveled in their fear. Desperate for answers, I turned to the online community. I shared my story on every platform I could find, hoping that someone out there would believe me and help me put an end to this madness. But instead, I found myself being ridiculed and accused of being the one behind the videos. It seemed like everyone had turned against me, my friends, my family, even complete strangers. They believed the imposter's lies over my pleas for help. One night, as I lay in bed, trying to sleep off the paranoia, I heard a faint sound coming from outside my window. It was a soft whisper, like someone was calling my name. My heart raced as I peeked through the curtains, expecting to see one of those creepy stalkers lurking in the shadows. But to my surprise, there was no one there. Just the empty street, bathed in the pale glow of the moon. I thought maybe I was losing it, hearing things that weren't real. But then the whispers grew louder, more distinct. They were coming from inside my own house. Fear gripped me as I followed the sound, my footsteps echoing through the silent hallway. As I reached the source of the whispers, I realized they were coming from my own bedroom. My heart pounded in my chest as I slowly pushed open the door, fear gnawing at my insides. The room was dark, but I could feel a presence like someone was watching me. I fumbled for the light switch, my hand trembling as I flipped it on. And that's when I saw it, a figure standing in the corner of my room. My blood ran cold as I stared into its lifeless eyes. Before I could react, the figure lunged at me, its hands reaching out to grab me. I screamed, trying to fight it off, but it was too strong. Its hands squeezed my neck. I clawed at its hands, desperating for air, but it was no use. The room spun around me as darkness closed in. I could hear laughter, sick and twisted, fill in my ears, and then everything went black. When I woke up, I was lying on the floor gasping for air. My body ached all over and blood stained the carpet beneath me. It took me a moment to realize what had happened. I had been attacked by some unknown force. But the nightmare wasn't over yet. As I stumbled to my feet, trying to make sense of the chaos around me, I heard a soft creaking sound. I turned around, fear etched on my face, and saw the figure standing in the doorway holding a bloodied knife in its hand. My heart raced as I backed away, fear paralyzing me. The figure took a step forward and I saw its face. It was my face, its eyes glinting with sadistic pleasure. It's raised the knife, ready to strike again. I knew I had to fight back to survive. With a burst of adrenaline, I lunged at the figure, knocking it off balance. We crashed to the ground, wrestling for control. I clawed at its face, trying to blind it, but it was relentless. Its grip tightened around my throat once again, squeezing the life out of me. But I refused to give up. With one final surge of strength, I managed to grab the knife from its hand. I plunged it into its side, over and over again, each stab fueling my rage and desperation. Blood sprayed across the room as the figure let out a guttural scream. Its grip loosened and I pushed it off me, gasping for air. The figure writhed on the floor, its life slowly draining away. I stumbled to my feet, covered in blood and sweat. The room was a mess, a scene of carnage that would haunt me forever. But I had survived. Oh yes, I forgot to mention one little detail. After that, I went blind. Why did it happen? I don't know. Maybe we were connected with my doppelganger, and the first blow, which happened to hit the eye area, simultaneously affected me as well. Where did this creature come from, and why did it choose me as its victim? I don't know. So, friends, think twice before posting seemingly harmless videos on the internet. What if you have a doppelganger too?
Story 2.
I'm Mark, a famous Let's Play YouTuber with millions of subscribers. My videos are filled with thrilling gameplay and humorous commentary, making my channel a hit among gamers. Little did I know that my success would lead me down a terrifying path of persecution. It all started innocently enough. Strange comments began appearing on my videos, filled with chilling messages and ominous threats. At first, I brushed them off as the work of internet trolls, but they soon became more personal and disturbing. It felt like someone was watching my every move, lurking in the shadows. Unease settled in as I noticed a figure standing outside my house, peering through the windows with piercing eyes. Every attempt to capture evidence on camera failed, as the figure vanished without a trace. Fear consumed me, and I couldn't sleep. One night, as I was recording my latest Let's Play, my computer screen flickered before going black. Panic surged through me as I realized I had been hacked. Desperately, I tried to regain control, but the hacker had taken over my channel, posting horrifying videos with murder scenes under my name. My subscribers were confused and terrified, questioning the sudden shift in content. Tech experts couldn't trace the source of the attack. It was as if the hacker had disappeared into thin air. As if things couldn't get worse, anonymous packages started arriving at my doorstep. Inside were gruesome objects, blood-stained knives, and disturbing handwritten notes. The messages grew more explicit, detailing violent acts that made my blood run cold. Someone was determined to destroy me both online and in real life. The threats escalated with each passing day. Sinister whispers filled my ears at night, and shadows danced on my bedroom walls. I heard footsteps echoing through the empty corridors of my house, even though I was alone. Driven by fear, I dug into my past, searching for any connections to explain this nightmare. And then it hit me. A childhood friend I had long forgotten, Alex. We used to play video games together, but something had always felt off about him. Alex couldn't stand to see me succeed, while he remained in obscurity. His jealousy had driven him to unspeakable acts, determined to destroy everything I had worked for. In the end, I was left broken and defeated, haunted by the horrors that had unfolded. My once thriving channel lay abandoned, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk within even those we trust. But wait, there's more. As I sat in my empty room, contemplating my shattered life, I heard a faint scratching sound coming from behind the walls. Curiosity overcame my fear, and I followed the noise. I discovered a hidden passage, leading to a secret room filled with gruesome trophies, body parts preserved in jars, blood-soaked clothes, and a chilling shrine dedicated to me. It was Alex's lair, his twisted sanctuary. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind me, trapping me in this nightmarish chamber. The walls began closing in, squeezing the air out of my lungs. Panic consumed me as I struggled against the suffocating darkness. In a final act of desperation, I managed to break free, but not before witnessing the true horror of Alex's madness. His body lay lifeless on the floor, surrounded by his own blood. It seemed he had taken his own life, rather than face the consequences of his actions. I stumbled out of that hellish room, scarred both physically and mentally. The nightmare had come to an end, but the memories would haunt me forever. The fame I once craved had become a curse, leading me down a path of persecution and terror. So, my friends, be careful what you wish for. Fame may bring fortune, but it can also attract the darkest of souls. And in the depths of envy and madness, even closest of friends can become the most horrifying of monsters.
Story 3.
I've always been a lover of singing, you know? It's like my escape from reality, my way of expressing myself. But little did I know that my dream would turn into a straight-up nightmare in the small American town I called home. Every night, I'd hit up the local nightclubs and take the stage. The spotlight would hit my face, and I'd belt out my songs with all the passion in my soul. The crowd would go wild, man. They were eating up every note, especially the dudes. At first, it was all good vibes. The fans were super into it. They'd hang around after my shows, waiting to get a glimpse of me. It was flattering, to be honest. But then things started to get creepy real quick. Late-night messages started flooding my social media, starting off innocent, but getting more and more aggressive. Word got around town about these obsessed fans. They were whispering about how they couldn't get enough of me, how they were dying to meet me. I'd see these guys lurking outside the clubs, just staring at me with this intense gaze. It made my skin crawl, let me tell you. Paranoia took over my life. Every step I took, every stranger that passed by, I was convinced it was one of them. They knew everything about me, my schedule, my routines. It was like they were watching my every move. And then the letters started coming in, full of sick fantasies and perverted stuff that made me sick to my stomach. My once friendly hometown turned into a freaking horror show. Just the other day, as I walked down Main Street, I caught a glimpse of a figure out of the corner of my eye. My heart immediately raced, and I could feel the beads of sweat forming on my forehead. It was a man, wearing a tattered black coat that seemed to blend seamlessly with the shadows that stretched across the narrow alleyway. He had a twisted grin on his face, his eyes filled with an unholy glint as they locked onto mine. But the moment I blinked, he vanished into thin air, leaving me questioning my own sanity once again. Sleep, or rather the lack of it, became my constant companion. Every night I would toss and turn, plagued by nightmares that blurred the line between reality and imagination. I would wake up in a cold sweat, my heart pounding like a tribal drum, only to find vague scratches on the walls that weren't there before. It was as if something sinister was lurking just beyond my grasp, taunting me with its presence. And then one day, it all came crashing down. I woke up to find myself tied to a chair in a dark, dingy basement. The stench of decay filled the air, and I knew I was in deep trouble. The obsessed fans had finally caught up to me, and they were ready to make their sick fantasies a reality. They took turns tormenting me, laughing at my pain, reveling in my suffering. It was like they were feeding off my fear, getting off on my misery. I screamed for help, but my cries fell on deaf ears. No one was coming to save me. Days turned into weeks, and I lost track of time. The torture continued, each day worse than the last. They carved their names into my flesh, leaving permanent reminders of their sick obsession. They whispered their twisted desires in my ear, promising to make me theirs forever. But I refused to let them break me. I held on to the sliver of hope that remained within me. I fought back with every ounce of strength I had left, never giving in to their sick games. I was a survivor, and I wasn't going down without a fight. And then, one fateful night, as they were celebrating their sick victory, I saw my chance. The room was filled with their laughter, their twisted pleasure, but they didn't see me slowly freeing myself from the ropes that bound me. With a burst of adrenaline, I lunged at the closest one, my hands finding a makeshift weapon. I fought back with everything I had, unleashing all my pent-up rage and fear. Blood sprayed through the air, mixing with their screams of pain. I didn't stop until every last one of them lay lifeless on the floor. The basement was a scene straight out of a horror movie, a gruesome reminder of the nightmare I had endured. But I had survived, man. I had fought my way out of that hellhole. I stumbled out into the night, covered in blood and bruises. The town that had once been my prison was now my salvation. I ran as fast as my battered body would allow, never looking back. I left behind the nightmare that had consumed my life, vowing to never let it define me again. Now, I travel from town to town, never staying in one place for too long. The scars on my body serve as a constant reminder of the horrors I endured, but they also remind me of my strength, my resilience. I've become a survivor, a warrior against the nightmares that lurk in the shadows. And as I continue to sing my songs, my voice may carry a hint of pain and sorrow, but it also carries a message of hope and strength. Because no matter how dark the night may be, there is always a glimmer of light waiting to guide us out of the darkness.